And just like that, we're back for the fourth episode of The Good, The Bad, The Rugby, South Africa. It's All Black Test Week, ladies and gentlemen, and there's something in the air. There's something in the air when the All Blacks come to town. They're coming to Ellis Park as well as Cape Town, and we're going to be unpacking what exactly we can expect from the old foe and whether they're actually ready to come to the Republic and do their business. They've got a new coach. They've got a couple of new players. Well, there's a lot to unpack. But before we get to that, as a rare treat, the original, should we call him the original honey badger? Was it?
Yeah, the ratel.
The ratel, for our international viewers, a ratel is the Afrikaans word for the honey badger. And we've got the man himself. We've got the ratel, the original honey badger. Ethienne Reynecke, Ettas. My guy, it's so good to see you. You're looking beautiful. The States are doing you well, my friend.
Cheers. Thank you, guys. The new Schalla and Bobo, what's nice is everybody was talking here. We all got a history, so it's always nice. It's like seeing old friends, and you've got good stories.
For me, it is. What's up with this Fabio look? I mean, I thought you left Joburg to sort of find new beginnings, but these new beginnings, it seems as if now you've actually changed yourself to more of you want to be in front of the camera instead of behind the camera.
But so what is funny now, it is a guy from Johannesburg, then went to London, and then went to Connacht in Ireland, and now he is in the States, and he just came back from Perth.
Tough life, eh?
And remember, France. I was in France as well.
Yes.
Don't forget France as
The
well.
original Mr. Worldwide. It does. Let's actually, let's get carried away somewhere quick. Talk to me about the last couple of weeks. You were in the corner, and for a lot of South Africans, it's the first time we're seeing Ettas on the screen again. You were in Perth with Dricus. You were obviously in Toronto when he fought there, but a big part of his team and a big kind of, you play a big role. Does your rugby career, does that kind of bleed into the UFC kind of game, or are you 100% committed to MMA and that's where you're at and that's what you perform in the squad?
Yeah, I've always thought that rugby players, a lot of guys that, let's say, if you don't make it in rugby, you've got a good base to go into MMA. It's a how can I say, a power base, but you get since young. But in terms of the unbelievable trip to Perth, and I've been training with Dricus for quite a couple of years. We used to have sessions where it's only myself and him during the day. Then I'll go to Pretoria. He'll come to Joburg because he is so good. He needs, because he trained at CIT. And at that time, there's probably not enough guys there as well. And that's how you become quite very. This was way before the UFC days. This was before the UFC days. And I've been always be the guy that's always said, listen, this guy's going to be a champion. He's going to UFC champion. He was not at the UFC yet there, but I said, bro, he's going to be a champion. Because you can only measure it when you feel somebody. That's the same with rugby. You only know until when somebody hits you or you run into him. An example I'll remember was 2007 when I played against. We played at Brombies, and I ran into Locker, the number 10.
Stephen, yeah.
Yeah.
Then you go, and you realize he's a 10, but he's hard. He's hard. Yeah, that's and then I was we were there in Toronto when he was becoming a champion with 2 weeks there earlier as well, helping he's got the main trainer, he's got a main partner called Mark Hume. He's also absolutely killer. He was an EFC champion as well. Trying to get him into the UFC as well. For me it was a lot of support. Being the journey together, you do a little bit of grappling as well, but it's a very rich journey to go with him, especially because me and himself is always, and like other pieces of coaches, has always have that belief, when other people might probably not have, and it's so nice, to see the world and you go, well, I told you I told you.
It does. One question what people don't know is actually you were doing MMA. It's not like you just jumped from a rugby pitch to MMA.
Yeah.
You actually fought and actually tried to go, if I can remember, you were going to the Middle East. Was it Dubai? And wanted to fight and didn't get cleared. And so you had to find another avenue, right?
Yeah, that's actually a sad story because in 2017, I wanted to, didn't want to go pro, but I wanted to fight in the EFC. And at that time, insecurity is a real thing. You see it in corporate, you see it in sport. And when I see this rugby player coming in, because you're not at the right club, they don't let you immediately have to fight. So they tell you have to do a license. So I have to do a license, and I was training actually with another guy that ended up going into the EFC. And it was bloody good. But at that time, my coach there was Mark Robinson. And he comes halfway into the session. He walked in there, and there was a president of MMA SA. He's there. He doesn't even know Mark Robinson. And Mark Robinson was the regional UFC fighter. He was fighting in the UFC before Dana and those guys bought over. And this guy doesn't even know who Mark Robinson is. And he walks in there and Mark's like, what? Sorry, who are you? And he's like, what? But now it's only me and another guy that's training and a ref. He's like, well, I'm Mark Robinson. Who are you? Anyway, it ended up bad. So then they said, okay, now I didn't pass for my license. And like you got 74%, like, how do you measure it? And then I kind of like this. So I kept on just doing, I do some amateur. I'm still I'm proud to say at least I'm unbeaten.
You'll be unbeaten if you fought no one.
So then obviously after the stroke, I didn't do like, if you're not going to fight again. And then what happens was after the stroke, I was working at Supersport with Renier and with Bobo. And then immediately you lose everything because, I was half dead. Half of my brain was dead. I mean, John Smith always tells a story, but he called a radialist and he said, listen, do you know him? He said, I said, well, I think you guys would just go say goodbye because this guy's not going to make it. So now, then I survived, but I got a physio. So then, I had to learn how to speak, how to write. I couldn't hear proper. So now you lose everything, which is, your business, everything. So the only way then, after about 6 months later, I started training wrestling for the first time. That's how I can train. And then I got a friend called Justin Ferrier. He said to me, he said, listen, we've got the South African Championship. Why don't you come fight for this? And then you can go to the World Champs. And because I just wanted to be a world champion. And I know I can be an amateur world champion. It's called an IMMAF. And at first I said to him, now you're crazy. And I was thinking about it for about 20 minutes. And I go, yeah, sure, I'll do it. And then I became a South African champion. And, you fight loads of fights in a week, like on a weekend. So it's not like it's only one fight. You had to keep fighting until you win the week. And that was literally just before COVID started. And that kind of everything, the whole world paused. So then I had to wait 2 years where we can go back into the world champs. And to be fair, I was clear to a same move. I was playing again like for the legends. And the one thing that I did, I made one error. When I filled in the forms, they asked what medicine are you using? And at that time, I was not even using blood thinners anymore. But I wrote it in there because, like, almost, I'm honest, so I put everything. And it's actually just stupid. This guy saw that. And the irony was, at that time, I was preparing in Dublin. It's actually at at CBG. That's where Conor McGregor, where he trained. And of course, my wife, she's Irish. She was living in Dublin. So they told me, all right. They told MMA SA, said, listen, they couldn't. You're not allowed to fight. I'm like, how can that be? Like I've been so many fights after the search. So how can that be? So there was a couple of issues behind. I think, you know, and a board of our body government, MMA SA, they didn't do enough to help with that. And then I actually met with the doctor that said no, because he was actually training at CBG. He's Irish, and you know, I think he was just covered his own
bases.
And yeah, and I don't know if somebody else as well. So like, I think that like they also kind of said to him, listen, don't let this guy fight. There are some issues, you know, some insecurities again. And yeah, I tried, I begged, nothing helped. And yeah, that was kind of my last dream with die. But yeah, so that was my thing. Yeah, that was my end with still fighting with MMA. And then my wife said as well, you're not allowed to fight anymore.
I was going to say, you made all these decisions about yourself and to yourself, and at the end, there's other people who care about you. I mean, I think about the doctor and all of that. I mean, all of these people might have like the best of interest for Ettas. But I know within inside yourself, like the lion-hearted that he is,
exactly.
He probably just wants to fight. Just let me out. If I want to die, I would rather die on the ring or type of thing. But you know what, Ettas, life has given you new challenges. Now in the States, what you up to?
I'm now in America. For a group called VA Group, I'm from the first guy on the ground. I helped to set up a company. We a telecommunication company. We build the infrastructure for fiber. So yeah, and that's what I'm doing. And I work bloody hard.
That's the Ethienne Reynecke way, though.
There's one question we see on this Instagram and on social media. Dricus's coach, he's got like a shock kind of thing. What's that all about? Because we don't know. I just see he's tasering people, and I'm like, oh my goodness, they must be so sore. And he tasers people. Why? What have you done wrong? And why do you get tasered? And is it do you really get tasered?
Yeah, I saw some people getting
tasered. You know, it started with that, and because I mean, Coach Mornay, he's himself. He's unbelievable. He's also a champion, and he was a wrestler as well. Also unbelievable fight IQ, you know, and not everybody is like Dricus that is driven like he is and to fix his own self. And some people need like what coach will do is immediately before he started using that, he used to go, okay, he's going to give a guy a leg kick. Now the problem is if you do a leg kick, then the guy can't walk for 2 days. You know what I'm saying? So that doesn't. So then he said, "Oh, like I think you're going to just get a shocker. That's probably the best way to do it. So if you do it wrong, then he just shock the guy. So you know that's it. You know, it was maybe he woke up in his memory, muscle memory. It's like, okay, now I'm going to do it up. It could be just how he's standing. Because it's small details is very important in fighting. You know, inches is quite important.
It does. Talk to me about the Springboks at the moment. So, I mean, you're far away, but you're obviously kept up with the Boks and kept up with what they're doing and how they're performing at the moment. Give me your notes on the Springboks. What are you thinking at the moment? Where they're at? Where the depth is at in the group? Are you happy with what you're seeing? What are your thoughts?
No, it's the Springboks is unbelievable, and it's not just right now. This has been something that's been growing for so long. Sorry, little dog. You know, from the day
it's got a name.
From the day when Rassie when he took over, you know, everybody knew it's not gonna, you know, it's not like you don't order a pizza. It's gonna take long. You know what I'm saying? But he had 18 months before 2019, so that was enough time for him to get it. And then he started putting things in place. So even like anything, if you think you make it, then your guys they stop growing. But now is with this environment at Springbok now is they keep growing. They still make sure they've got a very healthy environment. You have to get the right people. The correct personnel is very important. They brought in now Tony and Jerry. Again, two good humans. And I played against Jerry once. I think I was actually playing for the British Lions. Tony, we played against him when you were at Stormers. Now, you don't really know him well. And I spent a bit of time over a couple of beers on a Wednesday. We end up, like me and Tony, end up talking non-stop, 3-4 hours rugby, because he's got such a high rugby IQ as well. And on Thursday, we had a great thing where I brought a thing for Dricus, at a beautiful Crown hotel, right at the top, looking all over the city. And the Bok, they were there. And that was special. You speak sometime with Jerry, and you straight talking rugby, you could see he's a great guy. And I think that is one of the main important reasons why the Springboks they got the right people around him. It's exactly the same as with Dricus. And you get guys, in terms of the players itself, you must guys that must keep being driven. Like if you're not good enough, they're going to move you out. You know what I'm saying? But in saying that, all of the guys are humble. So humble. The Springboks, they've won 2 World Cups. Unbelievable. They're so humble. Get the same with Dricus. So I think that's quite important. I can't see, and I'll be honest, in terms of rugby, I can't see that the Springboks, they're going to come a bit of a drip. That's like anything in life. You never go in a straight line like this. There's always a little bit, but there will always be a growth. Always be a growth. So for me personally, I can't see why South Africa can't win the World Cup again.
There we go.
It finally came out of your mouth.
Ettas, I want to thank you for your time, my guy. Thank you for taking the effort. I know you're with family at the moment, so go and enjoy them for the last couple of days before you get back to the US. Thanks for your time, brother. And it's always good to chat to you. It's good to see you in good health, and we really appreciate your time, mate.
Rattle, we love you, buddy.
Nice.
Love you, my guy.
Baba, I always wanted to ask about your shoulder, but we'll do it. Great story. Ask him about the iron thing on your shoulder.
Yeah. Oh my goodness!
Have that chat.
So it's one of the most strangest chats. Everyone thought that I was because I enjoyed making a tackle, and I wanted someone to fill it the next few days.
Oh, because you're actually not a centre, you're actually a flanker. That's why.
Actually a flanker. That's the thing.
I mean, you played in the big numbers, but you actually are forward by heart.
I was just that guy. So the rumor was that I put a steel on my shoulder pads and all of that, and so we played against was it Canada? We played against Canada in the World 15 in Legends. And there was this guy who was running at Ettas' channel, and I came and I took him out of his channel. You should have seen how angry he was. But the guy went off the field, so I did him a good favor too. You know what I mean? Because you could have killed him.
Guys, Ethienne Reynecke, what a guy, huh?
Nah, he is a living legend. In so many ways. Just what's so inspiring about with all the turmoil that he sort of puts him or he gets through. Somehow he finds another way to just keep on pushing. I mean, there was a time when he had this stroke. I mean, he was at the time.
He got a stroke and he got shot.
He got shot in the head. So the second time he had a stroke.
Man's brain has taken a couple of knocks. And he played hooker as well.
And he played hooker.
Of course. I mean, it's actually a disgrace. I'm a softy compared to that type of guy.
Look, man, I remember, so when I started doing commentary back in 2015, Ettas was the first guy that I did commentary with, and at that stage he had like the proper Joburg comb over, and he was such an East Rand butt there. So it's so nice to see him like this. And one thing you can say about Ettas, look, whatever he does, he's going to do 100%, and he's going to take it seriously. But geez, he's got time for people. He's just an amazing guy.
He is by far one of the most loyal people I've ever met. If he's in your corner, like Dricus. He will fight till the death. And what is great about him is he's so principally based.
Yeah.
So the thing is, there's a right and a wrong.
Yeah.
There's no gray in his world. It's either one or the other.
Yeah, and he doesn't mind sort of telling you what he feels and what he thinks.
Straight up honest
He
guy.
is a straight up to the core.
But I do not want to get in a cage with that man. He will probably kill you.
Even now.
Yeah, no, I tried to train with Ettas, and then all of a sudden it felt like as if I was back in the ring and he was lying on top of him. I was like, you know what? It's not worth it.
I think what he managed to do is he bridged that gap between new school and old school hooker.
Yeah.
Because he could mix it up. I mean, he could run with the ball.
Yeah.
But geez, if he hit you, you stayed hit for a couple
Nah,
of days.
he's a proper, thorough human being. I mean, I was gonna mention when he had that stroke, so he was doing trading. Can you imagine doing trading and he got a stroke? So that's why he was talking about businesses and like loss of that, but still finds a way.
But when he had aphasia that he mentioned, lost his ability to speak, lost his ability to hear. And I mean, he makes light of it. But there was a moment there where the guys at Supersport where we did commentary,
Yeah.
we all kind of thought,
This is a touch and go.
This is a touch and go moment. And I mean, for a guy with 2 young girls at that stage, I mean, it's tough to go back and say, yeah, I want to get in a ring, yeah, I want to get in a fight. But it's such a good guy, and he's one of those South African rugby stories that often gets lost in translation.
True.
But what a fantastic guy. Guys, I want to move us on to a couple of things we need to get out of the way. It's an All Black Test week this week.
Yes.
Tell me about, because there's something in the air. There's something when you wake up on a Monday morning, and I had a conversation with Jesse Creel this morning.
Yeah.
There's just something. He's telling me they're working until 9 this evening. I mean, these guys are ready. Talk to me about the All Black Test week. What's going through your mind?
Well, firstly, they already got together on Thursday. So normally you get off on the weeks that is in between. So they played, watched the fights, came back, spent time with the family, and they already in camp already on Thursday. Yes, they trained Thursday and Friday, took the weekend off. Some of them went home, some stayed. But there is just something, this is our arch rivals. This is the one game, the one team that you want to smash. Look, there is respect both ways, because this comes from not just our generation, a lot of generations before us and after us. And
what's funny to me is, like, take the English for example.
Yeah.
There's a deep rooted, call it what it is. There's a deep rooted hatred when it comes to playing against England.
Why?
Well, history says why.
Yes, the Boer War, if you want to take it that far away. I mean, I can remember even when we had touring side from England, they killed our forefathers.
It hasn't stopped.
It will never stop.
But when it comes to the All Blacks, it's different, because that's where you want to measure yourself. There's a lot of emotion when we play the English, but when we play the All Blacks, you know you got to put your best foot forward. You know there's no going backwards.
I think for any rugby player, it's an epitome of saying that you are in the test arena when you see the haka in front of your eyes. I think when you see the All Blacks in front of your eyes, now you can tell, you can say, you know what, now I'm going to play a proper international. No disrespect to anyone else, because that is an iconic movement. That's a time when you start to realize to yourself what you're up against. And then you start thinking of that black jersey, their history that they have with their jersey, and how many of their players that we have admired across the world. You're right. I mean, we grew up in the Super Rugby era, where we saw these players sort of mushroom and becoming superstars. And Richie McCaw in 2001.
Exactly.
And then
We'll take it further back. John Olomo.
you take it John Olomo,
The original rugby superstar.
Inga Tugamala, I mean, Fitzpatrick. We go on. I mean, even to commentary, like Murray Mexted, to thinking about the IQ of a Zinzin Brook drop kicking in a semi-final.
Christian Cullen, the most
Christian
beautiful
Cullens.
runner
So-
of the ball.
So you already know that you are up against the best, and that's the best that they bring from their country, and now you're repping your country in front of millions and thousands at the stadium. It's just it's goosebump, because it's the measure. I mean, for me, the Tano Mangas, the Ma'anonus, when you see them in front of you, you're like, oh, please, let's go. This is where you want to be.
Except Jerry Collins, he went, please, I need
No,
to
no.
stay away from this topic.
It was interesting. My first sort of start against All Blacks was in Dunedin. So it's different when you're away from home, because in New Zealand, they make the whole city go black.
Yeah.
Like there is no mannequins, everything is closed. They put up black bags, it goes black for the whole week. So we were playing the All Blacks that weekend in Dunedin. And so Jerry, as he does, made me feel comfortable. We had a few drinks on a Wednesday. Didn't know that I was starting. And the next thing, the game plan was run at me. So I was like, you know what, the best thing you can do, especially to compliment someone who's trying to have that sort of game plan, is to just nail him. Every time he gets the ball, nail him. If he starts passing, you've done your job.
How far above your normal level do you want to be when the All Blacks come to town? Because you know your regular week in, week out is not going to be enough to get the job done against the black jersey.
I think what Rassie has accomplished is work ethic.
Yeah.
That there is no off days when you put that green shirt on, because the idea is to leave the shirts in a better place than when you got it. What is different to the All Blacks, it's very personal. That from the minutes the team is selected, or actually the Monday morning, till the Saturday night when you get to the fines meeting, I mean, it's all about making it personal. Because what do you make personal? The physicality. They were outplaying us and outsmarting us for a very long generation. They're the only side that's won the World Cup 4 times as well. So from that perspective, there's always, and it's weird to explain to people that hasn't been part of it. It's hard to explain to the Northern Hemisphere the kind of rivalry we've got with the All Blacks. It is just more personal than anything else.
Fact check, 3 times. We only ones who have won it 4 times. Look at that. Look
100%,
at that.
man.
That's terrible.
3, yes.
But tell me
But
about
you're right.
Tell me about that feeling when it comes to, I mean, Bobes, you've lined up against some of the greats in the black jersey. Who is, and I want like this, who's the greatest All Black of all time? Schala, let's go.
For me, Richard McCaw and Dan Carter, guy I hated as a kid, was Sean Fitzpatrick, because I always felt he got the ear of every ref. And then for me, the 2 guys that I loved watching as a kid was Christian Cullen and John Alomo as a 12-year-old, 13-year-old watching the 95 World Cup. John Alomo scored 2 tries against England, running over Mike Katz.
Oh.
And what was the other winger called? Anyway.
Rory Underwood. Look at that.
And
An
so,
encyclopedia of rugby knowledge, huh?
that's why he does what he does.
But you get that feeling, Bobes, actually, before we carry on.
Yeah.
Greatest All
Maga.
Black.
All Blacks wise, for me, this is of Zinzenbroek. Zinzenbroek for me was the most talented human being I've ever seen on a rugby pitch in what he could do in the position that he was playing and the influence that he had. I watched as an AC Schools player watching the All Blacks in 96 in Pretoria when they closed out that tour series. The control the man had in that game. I mean, it's a full Loftus Stadium. You could hear him talk at the back of the ruck, calling the guys either to the post, to the line. From that, the ball kicks back. He's already dropped at fullback position, lining up a drop kick. At the same time, he could put in a tackle, and he had the flair, he had all the skills. I mean, I thought for myself, that was the sort of player that you wanted to be in terms of a well-rounded player, someone who could bring in physically, but he can play with the skill set. For me, Zinzenbroek.
Such a good player. And I mean, Zinzan did what Sonny Bill did years before. I mean, what Sonny Bill did with the offload, that influenced world rugby. There wasn't a lock in world rugby that didn't, at least during training or during practice, said, let me just pop one at the post to see if I can do it. The original rugby influencer, right?
Yeah, I know. But there were so many of them. Atana Umanga comes across.
Yeah.
Christian Cullen, the most slickest runner you could ever see in the world. I mean, just the way that he just glided through. 98, the first time I saw him play live, it was at the Stormers. They were playing against the Stormers, and it was big time. I mean, Monty just had that 97 tour with the Springboks, so he was really up for it. So it was who is the best fullback between Monty and Christian Cullen. And they had this dice of chasing a ball, and you just see Cullen just gliding past, and I'm like, it's going to be a long day.
Speaking of this weekend, we're going into it. So the news cycle for the week said the Boks are in a bit of trouble as far as locks are concerned. Yes, we are thin. But then again, when it comes to the All Blacks, no one really cares the number on your back, mate. You got to get the job done.
At first, my take is like this. You know, it's a great opportunity for the possible future. Because
that is exactly how Rassie will phrase it.
You know, I look at it and I'm thinking to myself, most of the time we have all these Star Wars who play massive games and they play for ages. And our biggest problem is always hard to replace them because we've never seen anyone else in that jersey. It's a great opportunity for the leadership group to be the mentors that they claim and they believe to be, to give a bit back to the next one, to set that standard. And for the intern players who will be coming in, Ruan Nokia has got opportunity. Nicholas Janssen van Rensbeck has been called up to the squad, which was a very clever twist now when you think about what's happening with the stocks at the locking position, right? Massive for the leadership group to now live the words thoroughly, living this jersey in a better space, meaning that you can help a younger player by the way that they prep for that test, by how generous you are giving and imparting knowledge to them. Sometimes you don't have to say it. It's just the way that you do things that show what it means to be one of the best in the world. And I think it's an important part to not wait for those players to retire so that they can give back. Whilst they're still around, it's a great opportunity for Ruan this weekend.
So that they would definitely try to, normally in the olden days, if you're not being picked or you're not playing, you're out of there, you're going back home. And Rassie will have a different way of trying to get the IP across to the younger players. And exactly what Bob said is they would say, okay, fine, how can I help you? How can I help the team perform? You've got the number 5 jersey. You've got the number 4 jersey. This is what the All Blacks normally do from a defensive perspective. Lineouts, that's where they close down. This is maybe when this picture is shown, they'll probably close front and back or middle and back, and they'll change it around. And what is amazing is the way people within, or the team within the team, like the forwards and the locks, they'll come with a particular plan. And Rassie is clever. And the idea is anyway to rotate the next 4 years to make sure that the legends, the Euros that's won 2 World Cups, have a bit of a break, give other guys opportunities, and there would be rotation. We saw that against Australia. This is now just a forced rotation.
You know what I enjoy for the Springboks is that whenever they're coming up into a test match at this moment in time, there's always something to prove. And we all know it. They know it. Everyone will be like, in the last 3 test matches that has happened at Ellis Park, they've lost. There's something for them to go for. So they've always got to be in the bonnet.
And there's also the other opportunity that for the first time in almost 2 decades, we can go 4 times on the bounce against the old foe. I mean, or 3 times on the bounce, rather. That one test before the World Cup, obviously the World Cup final.
Yeah.
And then we bring them in. If there's anywhere where you want to try and beat the All Blacks at Ellis Park, the old Cauldron, the old stomping ground, and you know the support are going to be, it's going to be insane. It's going to be a hell of a game, something to watch. Can the Boks get it done, Bobs?
Yeah, I think this Boks side can get it done. You know, was at the press conference earlier on, and when you hear how Dion David sort of speaks about what they are trying to put in progress, and he talks about putting the players in an opportunity where they can finish the opportunities that they create, how they're going to sort of cut down time and space, and it shows you the confidence, but the confidence is the plan, and it's a quiet inside confidence. I mean, I was talking to Tony Brown. He is buzzing. He's excited. I'm like, you know, I've got the same excitement as if I'm going to watch my school first team. You know, like I want to see these boys getting out there on the Saturday and giving it their all, because I know that they'll be well prepared. So I think the Springboks do have a shot.
Schala?
The one thing is what is amazing about it is the focus isn't on what we can't do, but what we can do. And so from that perspective, Rassie will not focus about the result, but the process. How do we make sure we win the scrums, dominate the scrums? We need to dominate the mauling. How are we going to make sure that our restart is good? Because if you put all those different pieces together, that result will take care of itself. And so for me, it's interesting, what are they going to do with this particular lineouts? Because he'll come up with a plan that's a bit different than we have. On the other side, if you look at the All Blacks, they are not the almighty All Blacks of the past. They are struggling as well. They lost against Argentina. They had a great second test match.
Yeah.
They had a great start. The one thing that
McDonald walks out.
100%.
That does change things a little bit to lose a coach after an opening 2 rounds of the championship, right?
100%. So for me, it's with the All Blacks, what they do extremely well, and we've done it to a certain degree, is compounding pressure, scoreboard pressure. If the All Blacks get in front, it is a very, very hard team to beat, because you start running from deeper, you start playing too much, and then you make mistakes because they can.
They live off
Suffocate.
that.
They live off it. And they are great counter-attacking side, dangerous players. But if you start putting pressure on them, like we did just before the World Cup, then they
feel the pressure. They're
they
human
feel the
beings.
pressure.
They're human.
And they're about as wounded as it can be. Guys, I want to take us back. We discussed locks earlier. We do have a bit of admin to deal with this week. We need to pick the greatest Springbok locks of all time. 2 names jump out,
Yeah.
and they should be the favorites to take it. The old Buckies and Victor Matfield combo. Talk to me about options. Who have we got? You can't
Call someone you've never seen play.
It's 125 tests for Eben if he does make it onto the pitch this week. He's in the mix. The only guy above him will be Victor Matfield. So let's talk about the greatest Springbok locks of all time. Who are we picking?
Look, the enforcer was the enforcer, right? There will only be one Bucky's Botha.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
Nah, he was real.
he loved, how can I say?
Say it in a nice way.
I'm trying to. He loved dishing out pain in a legal and illegal way.
A legal and illegal way.
But I would say, if you look, there was limitations to his game,
Yes.
but he was a particular way in that particular era where Eben brings so much more from
As an athlete.
an athlete perspective, the way he carries the last week and the way he offloaded, playing a bit more. And Victor was like the ultimate guy when it came to throwing the ball to him. He would just give you the wink and off the ball goes. And he says, "Schala, just look me in the eyes. Just look me in the eyes." I felt like my teacher, like, I can't look away. I have to throw the ball kind of thing. So from that perspective, but I would say from a talent, I have not seen a talent like RG Snyman. Was unlucky with injuries, but while playing with him and Loot as well, from a talent perspective, how they offload, how they play, it was just phenomenal. I mean, RG is quick. I think he was in the ran 100 meters for the
school
in Affis. So he was rapid. So from that perspective, but on a work ethic perspective, now bringing another thing is there's no one like Sos who breaks a leg and keeps on playing with it, and that guy is just phenomenal.
Yes. For me, Eben and Victor, I think they pick themselves in what they have achieved and what they have shown us. I'm going to take it back to what I was saying about the opportunity. Thinking about now, if you look back now, 2015 Rugby World Cup, Victor played with Eben. I mean, that is part of that passing the baton and imparting knowledge, being the senior guy and seeing what's happening. And having to inspire the young player who wants to break your record. I mean, I think from that time of playing with Victor, Eben sort of unlocked it upon himself that it is a possibility to get as many as tests that he had. But at the same time, it gave Victor a chance and opportunity to admire a youngster, which he has called, quoting his words, one of the most talented athletes that has been produced in our generation in South Africa. So for me, I think those two pick themselves out, and I'm just validating my other point.
Okay, and the bench.
So for me, I look at guys. There's guys who really have played some massive rugby. Mark Andrews,
Yeah.
serious contender.
Yeah.
I think then you look at, Bakis for me. Bakis used to turtleneck people. When I say turtleneck, when he used to clean a rack, he used to put his head onto your head so that almost felt like as if he was squeezing your head back into your spine. And that's the type of player every loose forward or anyone who thought that they could steal a ball against the Bulls, you had to look up twice. Because you knew,
you just don't get near the ruck. That's what
you knew it was going to come. Because I always knew that he doesn't clean the third ruck because he's always going. So I knew that was mine.
Is this after 94 though?
You can pick whoever you want.
Let's
not confuse it. We're gonna go with Vic.
I'm saying
Eben.
Vic and Eben for me. I think they pick themselves. I think Bakis is out there and about. Jeepers.
Early doors. Let me ask you this. I'm happy with those two.
What about the tallest lock of world or Springbok
Andries
rugby?
Becker.
Andries Becker. He was in the mix as well.
He was a class act when he was on. Huh?
Oh, that man could gallop.
We started the show talking about MMA. Answer this for me. Bucky's against Eben in a cage. Where's the money?
Jeepers.
Currently or back in the heyday?
In their prime. As good as Eben can be versus as good as Bucky's was.
I think that would be such a great fight if it was in a phone booth.
But there's going to be some serious hits. There will be some serious hits. That much I can tell.
Well, I can't call that until I see it.
There was another bit of rugby news this week. Kurtley Arendse. The Bulls have allowed him to take a sabbatical in Japan. Similar to what Lakanyo did. Similar to what we see some of the All Blacks guys do. What are your thoughts on KLA taking a bit of a breather? He'll be back in May, I think it is, or March, I think it is, where he'll be back for the playoffs if the Bulls make it that far, which they should. But taking a bit of a break, going to Japan, bit of a culture break, bit of a stepping outside the SA rugby bubble.
It's
in pockets.
Yeah, well,
and the pockets.
No, but the one thing is what is great about it. Okay, so you've got two choices.
Yeah.
Either you tell him you can't go, then you lose him anyway in a couple of years because then he's going to go. Or you forward thinking, well done to the Bulls, and say, okay, fine. It's sad for supporters because he is just a phenomenal talent, not to watch him day in and day out, but he'll get a rest. It's a different style, different culture. He'll be better when he comes back. And for me, he's going to be in the money part of the season as well. And from his perspective, he's going to get paid well.
Yeah,
for what he does.
Yeah,
but that's a big thing. Is getting your pockets right while you're playing, Bubs.
I think so. We have to look at it and think about the career is not as long as 10 years. Nowadays, it's going to even get shorter because of the attrition that these players are putting themselves in. Kurtley hasn't missed much games.
Yeah,
it comes to the Bulls. Every time that Kurtley is available, he has played, and I think for me, it's a reward of his work that he has done. I think I feel the same as Schala said. Congrats to the Bulls for actually becoming forward thinkers and seeing this hopefully made work out for them and for Kurtley, because the important thing is about players. Again, I think Kurtley has earned and deserves to be in those kind of pound seats.
I'm actually pissed off, properly pissed off.
That there was no Japan when we were playing.
There was Japan, but there's how many million of Japanese people looking exactly? They didn't want hookers. They never wanted hookers.
Tough times. We're going to leave it there for the 4th episode. This has been The Good, The Bad, and The Rugby South Africa. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Get involved in the comments down below. Did we pick correctly? Are those the greatest 2 locks that we have? We'll chat next week.
And there's one more thing: should he shave that beard?
No, the beard's not going anywhere.
Cut it off from Snore City.
Let the snore live.
Mate, if you go to high school in Pretoria, the moment you can have a snore, you have one. That's what it is. It's been The Good and the Bad and the Rugby, the 4th episode. We'll see you next week. Cheerio.